What's up guys, it's your favorite Kiwi coach. Welcome back to another reaction video. In this video, we have a TrackMan video. They're talking about club path. Let's go do this thing. So welcome back to the channel guys. If you guys are new to Kiwi Golf Japan, we do a bunch of videos like this every single week. So what you gotta go do is hit that little red subscribe button, smash the like button, please leave me a comment, let me know what you guys think about this particular video, and as always, hit that little bell notification. You guys are getting notified every single time I drop a video. So like I said in the intro, this video is going to be about club path, specifically kind of some data points that could be affecting club path. We have Kevin Streelman, who is the PGA Tour player here on the left of your screen. We got his coach Darren May in the SLDR hat in the middle here. Dates the video if you know when SLDR came out. And then we have a TrackMan rep over here on the right of the screen. Let's go play through this video. Let's see what they got to say, and then I'll come back and react to it.
Okay, so this fundamental, we're going to be looking at the club path and what creates the club path. So the main thing that we're going to be looking at is the appropriate swing direction needed based off the attack angle in order to get the club path. So let's start out, we'll just have you hit a nice little draw shot, take a look at those numbers, and then see how we might be able to change things to get a zero club path from there.
Okay, so the rep there just kind of laid out the main point of the video. So what he's talking about is, if you had an angle attack of X, what swing direction would you need to have to get your club path moving towards zero, right? So that's going to be kind of the main point of the video. What's about to happen here is Kevin Streelman's going to go hit a shot. I'm assuming he's trying to hit like an in-out push draw. They're going to come back. They're going to go take a look at his club path number. They're going to see what angle attack and what swing direction he currently has to get that club path number. And then I believe Darren May, his golf coach, is going to tell him what swing direction Kevin Streelman needs to get to then change his club path closer to zero. But let's go watch Kevin Streelman hit some beautiful high baby draws.
All right, Kevin, that was good there. Club path of 4.5 out to the right. Nice draw shot. Let's take a look at those numbers. So on that particular shot, your attack angle is negative 5.2. We're hitting an iron, so we'd expect you to be hitting down on it. Swing direction was pretty much zero, but the club path was actually in to out 4.5 degrees. So
okay, so let me explain some of these data points in case you guys don't really get the definition. So angle attack is really, are you hitting down on the golf ball, are you hitting level, or are you hitting up? Swing direction is maybe a little bit more complicated, but swing direction is measured at the lowest point of the swing arc. So to give you an example, if we had a driver here, and let's say we're hitting up on the golf ball, the lowest point of the swing arc would be behind the golf ball, because again, we're ascending into the golf ball when we hit it. So the swing direction would be measured behind the golf ball. With irons, if you're hitting in front of the golf ball, then that lowest point of the swing arc would be measured in front of the golf ball. This particular shot, Kevin Streelman's swing direction was 0.4 degrees to the right of the target line. Last but not least, there's club path, and club path is where the sweet spot is traveling at the moment of impact. So it could be traveling to the right of the target line, it could be traveling neutral to the target line, it could also be traveling to the left of the target line. Now last, and sorry I said last there twice, there's swing plane, which they don't actually bring up in this video. They don't talk about it, but swing plane, you can think about it this way. The easiest way I've told it to my students is, you ever seen a golfer that has a really high handle at impact? Well, that would kind of be their swing plane, right? So are you kind of raising the handle? Are you lowering the handle? And then what is the degree basically at the moment of impact of that handle? Basically, that's kind of swing plane. That's a real simple way to think about it. So let's go have him talk a little bit more, and then I'm going to come back and react a tiny bit more as well.
I mean, Darren, can you speak to, why is this club path in to out 4.5 degrees if our swing direction is zero?
Well, certainly I'd like to see the attack angle about this kind of number with a 5-iron, first of all. I think that's something that you've definitely got to take into account. Secondly, with the swing direction number there, I would like to see the swing direction somewhat half of the attack angle if we're going to get the club path down to a very, very small number. And that's definitely something that Kevin and I have started to work on, is putting less shape on the ball.
Okay, let me go back there a little bit. Okay, so what was Darren May saying there? Well, first off, he was saying with the 6-iron, which is the club that Kevin Streelman's hitting, he wants to keep the angle attack at -5, right? I could talk about that a little bit more, but I don't want to go down a rabbit hole right now. So let's just say, yes, -5 angle attack with the 6-iron. The next thing that he had to figure out is like, okay, so the club path currently is 4.6. For the main topic of this video, remember, we're trying to shift club path closer to zero. what swing direction would the Kevin have to get that club path closer to 0? So what Darren May said was, if you take the angle attack and you cut it in half, that would be a negative 2.6 swing direction. That should give him a club path that's closer to 0. Now, I kind of agree with this for the most part, but I think there's a little bit of a subtlety that's missed out in this particular part of the video, and it's swing plane. Let me give you an example here. Let's say you had a 45-degree swing plane. Well, your ratio of angle attack to swing direction would be a 1 to 1. And let me explain that even further. So if I had an angle attack that was negative 5.2, I would need a swing direction that was negative 5.2 to get a club path to 0. Again, if my swing plane was 45 degrees, right? It's a 1 to 1 ratio. Now, if I had a swing plane of 56 degrees, which is more so like a 7-iron, then I would have to have a 2 to 1, which means that I would have to half that angle attack, which would be negative 2.6 swing direction, to get that club path to 0. Now, this particular player's swing plane is 50.9, so it's somewhere in between that 45 1 to 1 and that 56 degree 2 to 1. So if you just half the angle attack, which would get a negative 2.6 swing direction, it's not going to get that club path all the way to 0. But again, they didn't want to do the whole math equation, right? So they kind of just gave you a little bit of a simplified answer. But for you instructors out there, that's what you guys have to think about. Again, remember, you have to factor in swing plane. So if you have a 45-degree swing plane, it's more so of a 1 to 1 ratio. If it's a 56-degree swing plane, it's a little bit more of a 2 to 1 ratio. And then from there, you can take that angle attack that your player currently has, and you can either half it or 1 to 1 it, and you can find that swing direction that you want to get that club path closer to 0. And you can also use this information to get the club path to different numbers as well. It doesn't always have to be getting it back to 0, but you can also use this to get it back to like positive 4 or get the club path to negative 4, really whatever you want to kind of do with it, right? So I'm going to go let the coach kind of finish out this video, and then I'm going to react to the rest of it.
Angle, if we're going to get the club path down to a very, very small number. And that's definitely something that Kevin and I have started to work on, is putting less shape on the ball and starting to get the ball travelling through a much smaller conduit, so there's less dispersion to his shots.
Okay, and this is kind of the common sense thing of the video that I disagree on with Darren May here. So he's referencing that you have to get the club path closer to 0, which then means you'd also probably have to get the face angle closer to 0 to have a much tighter dispersion and a much tighter lateral dispersion. Now, factually, yes, that would be correct. If you had a face to path that was pretty much 0, your lateral dispersion would be very, very tight. But that doesn't mean that you need to have your club path at 0 and your face angle at 0, right? I could literally have a +4 club path in a 0 face angle. The ball would probably be curving, let's say, 15 yards. But if my deviation of face to path was very, very tight on that range, I'd be hooking the golf ball 10 to 15 yards every single time. Hence, my lateral deviation would be very tight. I would just have to aim to the right when I was out there on the golf course, right? So this is kind of what I think a lot of people currently in Japan are also kind of thinking about, is really, you have this target line that TrackMan shows. You need to hit the target line, right? That's not the case. You don't have to hit the target line. Remember, the target line is a reference to where the TrackMan is pointing. What you should then do from there is you should basically make a normal golf swing relative to that target line, and then see where the golf ball ends up, see where your deviation is, and then from there start tracking a grid, and then you can kind of see where you want to take it from there. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys again in the next one.